So if you remember from last week's episode, we talked about installing this drip irrigation line. Now, one of the things that I was talking about is this plumbing tape. When we tested this system, did notice some leaking around the joints. So it's quite easy to install plumbing tape. Basically just take the tape, you want to wrap it the opposite way of the threads, and you just wrap a couple of times. Try to get it a little snug as you're going. Hit all of the threads equally, and then you just kind of pull to get it off. Then what you do is you screw it in, assuming you don't drop it. Screw it in and it should provide a tighter fit. The other thing I noticed was in the beginning of the line, it pressurizes quite a bit. Now this is not an area that we want the water to be going, so I'm going to use electrical tape to cover the line. Electrical tape is a wonderful tape because it will stay sticky and stick to itself even when wet. So I figured it was probably a good option to reduce the amount of bleeding coming out of these lines so that it gets to where the plants need it instead of all over the place where we don't need it. So these are my sweet peppers. On the left there are rainbow sweet peppers, and on the right there are sweet banana peppers. And in between you see my problem. I have just tons of weed. I've got just tons of weeds, not weed. Lots of weeds in this soil. So when I first started gardening, I wasn't totally aware of how important the soil was. And all I did was I took the soil that I used to put in my lawn, and well, I tossed that in the garden and started. Well, that came with a lot of perennial weeds. Lots of these little things. So what I'm going to try to do today is I'm going to use clean cardboard and see if I can sheet mulch. On one side, I'm going to pull all the weeds. On the other side, I'm just going to lay this on top. Once these are all in place, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some compost that I have, put it on top. Hopefully that'll act like a little bit of a compost tea while helping over time prevent the weeds to come up. I figure what will likely happen is the worms will come into this, they'll chew this all up, and by the end of the season this will be gone, but hopefully that'll at least slow down the weeds that I have. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to try to line up the slits with the bottom of the plant. Just fold over the one side so that we can get our nutrients and our fertilizers to the right spot without having it, sheet flow over anything and not do too terribly much work. So this happens to work out just fine. To fold these over, what I'm going to do is I'm going to flip this over because I think it'll work a little bit better, and scooch it right under. So this is a good option if you live in an urban environment like I do and you don't have access to a lot of the hay or other products that in other parts of the country you can get to. You can just try this, and of course we'll follow along and let you know how this goes. So I'm just going to finish this up and I'll come back when it's done. So now I have sheeted most of it, and to keep it down, here's the compost. I'm just going to pour this in the center and spread it out. And once it's spread out, I'm going to throw a little bit of water on it and see if I can't get this to stay down. Now it's not a problem if the compost is touching the base of the plant, as long as you remove any leaves that will end up being below it. What peppers will do is they'll actually send out more roots from the stalk, and the reason why you want to remove the leaves that'll be underneath there is just for so that they don't rot and rob your plant of nutrients. So I stripped a few more leaves off this little guy. Now that he's nice and strong, I'm going to bring that compost in and around. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to water it a bit, just to provide a little bit of weight and to saturate the cardboard so it goes nice and snug against the ground. So as you can see, we have finished, and this little experiment should be interesting to see if I can control some of the weed problems I've got. I also did it on one of my squash in the squash bed, and instead of putting the mulch on top, or the compost on top, I figured I'd just put the cardboard and weigh it down with rocks because I've got the irrigation hose underneath to bring water to it. If you like this video, feel free to subscribe or check us out on Facebook at www.facebook.com/Alberta Urban Garden. Thank you very much.